Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Hello, my name is Ray Niemeyer with SpaceGuard Products, and you're listening to the New Warehouse podcast. Today's safety tip is about machine and robotic guarding. Some critical things that warehousing and manufacturing facilities need to understand is the importance of keeping personnel separated from moving equipment that could injure or maim people if they get in the way of moving robots, machinery, as they're in total operation to make products and move other products around the facility. So today, with RageWire machine guarding by SpaceGuard, you have a lot of different opportunities to implement various machine guarding solutions to access for maintenance purposes, as well as move product in and out of those machine operations to continue the workflow of those systems. And with the simple design and simple parts to move and implement the product, it's a great resource for companies today to access and secure and guard those operations from walking aisles, as well as people moving in and out of the area that the machines are working in. So with that, different types of machine guarding are critical to help those solutions or situations. But more importantly, you have options, and this product gives you those options to meet your goals.
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer. Fulfillment demand continues to skyrocket and outpace available labor. To keep up, warehouse operators are turning to flexible fulfillment solutions like 6 River Systems. Utilizing 6 River Systems' award-winning combination of collaborative robots, artificial intelligence, and operational expertise will make your associates and wall-to-wall fulfillment workflow more efficient. No new infrastructure, no change to warehouse layout, easy to deploy and scale, easy to train and retain associates, all at half the cost of traditional automation. Want to take your fulfillment operation to the next level? Go to www.6river.com to learn more. That's www.6river.com to learn more. How do you create warehouse superheroes? The answer is simple. With visual voice scan solutions from ProCensus. With record demand and labor shortages, warehouses need more effective workers and lightning fast onboarding. Visual voice scan solutions from ProCensus enable warehouse workers to achieve superhero performance with up to 20% improved productivity and up to 99% accuracy. Hands-free barcode scanners from ProGlove paired with wearable mobile computers is just the beginning. Improved mobile interfaces with reduced keystrokes, easy-to-read screens, custom keyboards, voice-enabled interface, and more can be realized with ease on the leading WMS platforms. Sound too good to be true? Let us show you with our one-of-a-kind virtual demo. Visit ProCensus.com to get started today. Again, that's ProCensus.com to get started.
Starting March 28th, Modex 2022 lets you see what's coming and take advantage of it to power your supply chain with more possibilities for years to come. With 850 exhibitors and education sessions, Modex 2022 is where you'll find the more of everything. From illuminating education to next-generation technology and equipment in action to the latest equipment and system solutions for your supply chain needs. Visit modexshow.com and join us March 28th to 31st, 2022.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. On today's episode, I will be joined by Ray Niemeyer. He is the VP of Sales and Marketing at SpaceGuard Products. And we have had SpaceGuard Products on the show previously. We had the founder and CEO, Eddie Murphy, early on in the show. My first time attending ProGMA, and when the show first started, Eddie was nice enough to hop on this little-known podcast at the time and talk to me. So that was very good. So I'm happy to be catching up with Ray here from SpaceGuard as well. We're going to talk a little bit about SpaceGuard, what is it they do, and then we're also going to talk about how they're a member of the ProGMA and what that is exactly. We're also going to get more into guarding and some of the preventative measures that guarding can help you with in terms of safety and protecting your equipment and your people. So, Ray, welcome to the show today. How are you?
I'm good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing well. Getting ready for Modex as we're recording this. Big week next week as we're going to do that. And I'm sure you guys are going to be there as well, so I'll see you over there. But why don't you give us a little bit of an overview of SpaceGuard and what it is you guys do for those that may not be familiar?
So SpaceGuard Products is a manufacturer of wire partitions and other security solutions, along with some new innovative products on the rack repair side of the industry. So SpaceGuard Products is headquartered in Seymour, Indiana. We're an hour and a half south of Indianapolis and an hour north of Louisville. And we are centrally located, which makes it easy to support a lot of our customer base around the country.
Okay.
We are privately owned. As you mentioned, Eddie Murphy is our president and CEO, and we've been in business for now 32 years as we look forward to our continued expansion and growth within our vertical industry, as well as migrating into some new markets with our Rack Avenger, rack repair product, as well as some other new and safety products that we have on the engineering drawing board to come out here in the future.
Okay, very interesting. And you guys definitely make strong racking as well. I remember seeing it back at ProGMA in 2019, and then also obviously in various places around the web too. And, it's something that's very necessary, I think, for our industry and material handling is, being able to protect the people that are in our facilities and are doing the work and actually handling the material. So guarding helps with that, obviously, and I think even more increasingly as we start to invest in more equipment like robotics and automation, and this equipment becomes more and more expensive. You want to protect that as well, and that's something that you help to do. And now we mentioned the Modex in there a little bit ago, which is obviously put on by MHI, and there's also the ProGMA, which is a part of MHI as well. And I know that SpaceGuard is a member of ProGMA. So what is that exactly? What is ProGMA, and why are you guys members of the ProGMA?
Well, as a founding member of ProGMA and a manufacturer of security enclosure systems and other safety and guarding products, the desire to be a part of a trade association that was interested in pulling like manufacturers together to bring solutions such as items to secure, guard, and protect your people, your inventory, your facility, and your operations is something of high importance for us. And to work to raise the visibility of the industry and those looking to find solutions within to, again, secure, guard, and protect their people facility and inventory. So the Protective Guarding Manufacturing Association is what ProGMA stands for.
Okay.
We're currently 25 member companies within the group. We started off with 12 in 2012, 2013, and we've grown that membership to the 25 members currently within the organization.
Wow.
I'm currently the chair of the Protective Guarding Manufacturers Association for the next 2 years.
Okay.
Looking forward to helping lead our group and within the industry and to bring our member companies to the forefront to bring our solutions that we have to offer to the marketplace so that your listeners and other people trying to find those types of solutions can come to a one-stop shop with ProGMA to find all kinds of protective guarding solutions.
Very interesting and definitely very impressive, the growth that you mentioned there as well. And I'm curious, obviously for the end consumer, having an association like this where companies are coming together to be able to bring out the best products possible for safeguarding material handling industry and helping companies who need these types of products. In a sense, sometimes when you think about getting similar companies together, one may think that, these companies are somewhat maybe competing against each other. How has the association helped the companies kind of benefit from each other and grow individually as well?
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
That's a great question and a common one. And the very interesting thing that MHI creates is a workable space for like competitors, but also within a vertical industry, but like competitors that touch different areas of your facility and operations to come together in a well-organized, safe environment where we all want to share the solutions and the things we can pull together to raise the bar so that customers can find really good solutions to solve their problems. As a result of that, many of us are competitors. Many of us work together in conjunction with our dealer network to bring our individual solution to a greater problem that a customer is trying to solve. And that integration and partnership between our member companies with our dealer network to solve that problem for the end user really benefits the end user in that they are working with leaders within the industry. They are working with leaders that have their best interest at heart, and that we have multiple solutions for them to consider so that they can make the most educated buying decision for their operation that they can make. And with that, within our membership, there are a lot of similar type manufacturers making similar type solutions. But again, it allows them to see what those options are. And again, to engage with the individual companies to make that good buying decision. So even though we work together and we work against each other in the marketplace, ProGMA brings us together to do the right thing for the end user and the buyer. And those men and women who come to the table in multiple meetings throughout the year in at a trade show like Modex that we're getting ready to start here on Monday.
Yeah.
We bring those solutions to the forefront, and it really allows the buyer, the end user, to know that the decision they make is going to be a good one. Those companies that don't want to engage to move our industry forward are typically very guarded and protective of what they do. And sometimes that protection and lack of vision doesn't ultimately benefit the buyer at the end of the day.
Yeah, very interesting point there, and I think it's great that companies are able to come together, even though they might be somewhat competitive or maybe even direct competitors, and still be able to grow the industry as a whole, and be able to, like you said, bring a better product to the end consumer and make sure that they're getting the best experience as possible, which I think is key. And I think we're seeing a lot of that happening in the material handling industry. I know when I was at Modex in 2020, I think the one thing that really stood out to me so hugely was the amount of collaborations that were going on between different companies, and how they're trying to push things forward and making sure technologies can communicate with each other, and just making sure that things are the best possible for the end user, and just pushing the whole industry forward as a whole. So very interesting that you guys are all able to kind of sit at the table, like you said, at the same time, and be able to tackle some of the issues in the industry potentially around guarding and push forward for the end user. So you mentioned in there too, part of the association is helping that end user be able to find some of the best options for whatever their use case is. And so the ProGMA, my understanding is that you guys also have a protective guarding search tool that end users can use. So talk to us a little bit about that and how that kind of came about and how it works.
So is the association members were trying to find ways to create easy tools for the user community to use. Obviously, there's a lot of questions and back and forth between the members. And the protective guarding search tool was a creation of the members, but primarily some of the people from the marketing departments from the different member companies. And they were like, okay, how do we create an easy tool to help them? So what we created was the search tool that is a visual tool that uses photographs of applications to allow people to kind of see and engage with that picture, the opportunity to find the solution to solve a problem within their operation. So first and foremost, you got the visual cue from the picture and where it is in a facility, the solution that's being implemented in that picture. And then there are some search tools off in it to allow you to either use keyword search tool. You could filter by manufacturer. You could filter by product category. So within the search tool, we have multiple categories. So in that, we have 38 products that are throughout a facility that somebody's going to need a solution for. So each one of those 38 categories have a photograph. There's a product description underneath that category to help guide the visitor. And then once they get into that and they click on that category, they can find the list of ProGMA member companies that offer a product in that solution type. Now, yes, you're going to find competitors, but also you're going to find some other solutions that do the same thing, but maybe do it differently. So again, it gives the end user the options to look at the bigger picture. Then it allows you to contact or search that manufacturer by clicking on that name in a little bit more detail to do a deeper dive to see what each of those manufacturers have to offer for that particular solution. So, one, we're trying to make it easy. Two, drive you to easy places to go find more information, collect that information, and then pull it together for the meetings or other engineering activities that you may have to figure out which way you want to go and who you want to contact for additional information. So it's an easy search. It's a non-intrusive search so that you can make those searches easily. Mm-hmm. And the only way you're going to be contacted is if you reach out to one of those member companies directly for additional information. So that's the neat thing about the tool, that it's not going to flood you with a number of phone calls from the list of companies on that category because you went to that area. And I think that's what's attractive for the end user. And I think that's something very important for the end user to understand, that you're not going to be hounded by the list of companies that you see there unless you physically reach out to them, either through the internet or through a phone call or through a direct email.
Yeah, I think that's great too, because, I'm just thinking about kind of the comparison of, looking for a car online, and you get to a certain point and they want you to enter your information, and then, next thing you know, you get a million emails from dealers, and you're not even sure that's the car you want, right? So it's like, it's perfect that it's suited to the end user, that it's really just a reference tool for them, and they're able to utilize it. And I think that's really smart, and I think it's a great thing that the association is putting out. And I love that it has the visual aspect as well. I think it's an important tool because you think about something like guarding, and you're not really buying protective guarding every single day, right? So you may have a project that comes along every once in a while, and now we need some guarding. So it's not something you're shopping for often, I would say. And so having that tool to be able to look and see, like, what are the options that are out there, and kind of lay it out a little bit, I think really makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure helps the end user kind of go in a different direction than maybe they think they were going to go, or more in the right direction, I should say, and really give them some options to go with. So now let's dive a little deeper into guarding itself. So we kind of talked about, SpaceGuard a little bit and what you guys do, and then obviously the ProGMA and the search tool, but, guarding itself, for people maybe that are trying to picture this as they're listening, talk to us a little bit about, guarding in the sense of warehouse distribution centers. What can the guarding actually protect you from, and maybe give us some examples in there. Maybe you've heard from customers of where, maybe they didn't necessarily have the proper guarding or guarding at all, and what kind of might have happened there, and how could guarding protect from those things?
So no, that's a really good point. I a lot of times companies end up buying guarding solutions after an accident. And there's a number of different kinds of accidents, but most of the time it's when a moving piece of equipment damages a building column, damages an outside wall, damages machinery and equipment in your facility, or people get in the way of moving equipment and either get hit by moving boxes, overhead monorail material moving through a facility, or getting away in front of a robotic palletizer and actually get hit because they got into the moving radius of the robotic arm or the machine moving to do its job. So many times it becomes an emergency for the end user after an accident, and they're trying to solve the problem because of that accident. And what we're also trying to do is educate facilities as they're upgrading their operation or building a new facility, is to also look at, if you make the investment in advance, yes, you're spending a little bit more money up front, but if you look at the cost of not doing it up front and your facility damage, equipment damage, personnel injury, and you add up all those costs after the fact, it quadruples what your investment would have been up front. And sometimes even more, between workers' comp, lost wages, retraining new employees to do that person's job, repairing your building. It could be an outside wall. It could be replacing a damaged column, a damaged rack upright, a damaged conveyor. That shuts down your operation or really kills your maintenance budget because you got to spend the money to fix things after the fact. So one of the things we try to do as an association, or me as the manufacturer, is to share with the customer, yes, it's an investment, but it's an investment to save you money long term. So within that, I had mentioned we have about 38 different products, and I'll highlight some of the products that you would find on the site that would be useful in and around a facility or even outside on the property grounds.
Okay, sure.
It could be as simple as different types of bollards to protect equipment out in the parking lot, or bollards to protect overhead doors, or bollards to protect equipment in high traffic aisles within a facility. You have different conveyor guarding and equipment guarding. It could be wire partition. It could be guardrail that's made out of steel, or guardrail that's made out of a polymer.
Okay.
It could be other types of steel guarding to prevent, that's mounted to the floor, that could prevent impact from moving equipment. You have different partitions and gates and enclosures that go around dock lifts and loading dock door areas that people can fall off when the doors are open in the summertime as they're walking around or driving with a fork truck and whip around, and next thing you know, the doors open and they're out into the parking lot. You also have, and this is where a lot of people end up not protecting and then somebody gets hurt, is when you have high pedestrian walk aisles in the same area of forklifts and AGVs and other moving equipment, that, a lot of people will use a yellow line or a colored line on the floor to segregate walk areas from equipment traffic areas.
Right.
But let's be honest, when there's not a physical barrier there, it's easy for me to be talking with you. We're going from the front office back to the loading dock, and it's a 10-minute walk.
Yeah.
You and I are talking. I'm looking at you, and I start veering off, not realizing I crossed that yellow line. Next thing you know, I'm in front of a fork truck that has a pallet load in front of it, stacked 6-7 feet tall, and next thing you know, I'm in the middle of that tussle, and who's going to lose? It's going to be me, over the fork truck. So, that's a really good example of where some of the guardrail barrier and things and handrail come in place to create that separation. And that happens more than people want to believe.
Yeah.
And it just takes that one time, and your insurance company will be not only on all over that particular facility, but if you have multiple facilities, it raises the question of where do we need to implement this type of guarding, whether it be barrier separation or physical separation in those areas. So, it can be costly. We have light curtains that, control if I access an area through a light curtain and a piece of machinery will actually stop so that, I can't get engaged and get, hurt by any moving equipment.
Yeah.
We have up on a mezzanine, we have drop zones where you're taking loads of pallets up to the mezzanine or taking them off the mezzanine and bringing them down. and product can fall off as you're moving that material up and down. And these safety gates create a safe area to keep the material in that area, number one, and number two, prevent somebody from falling off the edge of a platform down below. We also have rack repair kits or rack guarding kits that fork trucks, as they load and unload rack all day long, they back into a rack upright. They hit it with the front of the fork truck or the forks themselves or the load, crippling the rack upright. And then you have a weak point where in time material could topple down below because of the damaged upright. So you have a rack repair kit to fix that instead of buying a complete new rack upright. You have driver cages at different points of your facility to control who comes in and out of your facility from a security perspective.
Right.
So these driver cages quarantine somebody coming in any of the doors that these are at, and you need authorization from an employee inside to let you in. And that can help control theft. More importantly, if I'm in the middle of Georgia and it's 110 degrees out with the humidity, and I'm a truck driver and I'm in a tank top and shorts and flip-flops, and I'm walking into the back door at the loading dock to the shipping receiving, and I have all this machinery and I got metal shavings all over the floor. And this was a true case. And I was at a trade show where I had the end user come tell me I had an OSHA violation because the truck driver had free access to walk to my shipping receiving office, but because of all the metal shavings on the floor, I got written up when the OSHA inspector was there looking at other things in our operation because he had open-toed shoes. He didn't have safety glasses, and they got written up and fined for that. So a driver cage, can eliminate them from happening and add a level of security. We also have different topple protection barriers so that many cases in warehouses that don't have rack storage, but they floor stack material, they will stack pallet on top of unit load over top of pallet, and you could be 12, 15 feet up in the air. And as we have pedestrian aisles, some of that weight can shift, and you have a couple, 6, 7, 8,000 pounds of material shift and fall sideways down into an area that could hit moving equipment or people walking. So these topple protection barriers are, can be implemented in those types of situations. Then you also have, out in the loading dock, you could have guarding to guide trucks into the loading dock position to help secure so they don't damage downspouts or HVAC systems or other things that are stored outside of the loading dock area. You have welding curtains and strip curtains to help as people walk by, and you have operations where there's sparks and big flashes to help protect people's eyesight with those strip curtains and things of that nature. So, those are quite a few examples of the types of equipment and different solutions somebody's going to find in this search tool. And then when you're in that search tool, again, you can go into those deeper dives to learn a little bit more about those solutions so that you can come back educated to your meeting to share with your team members. Here's what I think will work for us. Here's why. And here's why I think we need to look at getting quotes to solve a problem we have.
Very interesting, and definitely a lot of applications that you mentioned in there, and some of them I think people maybe don't necessarily think about is, as you mentioned in your early example, sometimes people don't think about these things or try to do preventative measures until the accident actually happens and occurs, which can be pretty serious and sometimes fatal as well. So it's good that you guys are bringing this awareness and creating these tools and really trying to make the best products that you guys can possibly do from the companies and the association, so that end users can protect themselves and be able to, come in and leave the same way that they came in the door in the morning. And, it's a pretty interesting story there as well about the truck driver. I've certainly seen that. Truck drivers, they tend to love to be in flip-flops, open-toe shoes. I see that quite often coming into the warehouse. So obviously, they want to be comfortable. I get that. But like you said, they need to be protected, especially in those environments, because you don't know what could happen. So very interesting stuff from you, Ray, and really happy to hear more about the ProGMA and what you guys are doing. Very good stuff, and also about SpaceGuard a little bit too as well. If people want to find out more information about the ProGMA and they want to find that search tool, how can they do that?
So they can go to the website, www.mhi.org/PROGMA. That will take you directly to the landing page for our particular association that's under the MHI umbrella. And then you'll find the list of the various solutions. We also have what we call the protective guarding checklist, and it's a 2-page front and back cheat sheet that gives you a list of various solutions in about 7 to 9 different categories with subcategories underneath it to use to help find those solutions. And that leads into a separate item easily found right below that checklist on the website for the search tool I went into in specific. So you're going to find that. We also, you were mentioning, how does industry come together for the betterment of our industry? Our group has developed 2 material handling equipment standards. Okay. ANSI MH31.1, which is wire mesh enclosures for the back of rack. And what that is a testing standard so that is unit loads, boxes, fork trucks impact the back of the rack and the mesh that's mounted to it. It's going to be able to withstand X amount of impact to protect the people and the operations behind that rack in that area. We also created a guardrail standard, MH31.2, and that's also an impact testing standard that's in process right now, where both steel and polymer guarding will be tested. And the benefit to the user community is to say, if you meet MH31.2 testing, I know this is how it's going to protect my equipment, my building, my structure of my building, and to protect people in work areas along these equipment moving aisles. And the really good thing for that is it removes the smoke and mirror that has been in place where you might be importing material from overseas, right, and that material may be low grade. It could be made here in the U.S. or in North America, but we have an ABC quality in this guardrail. Yeah. And sometimes people buy on price alone, but not realizing that if you buy a lower grade product, let's call it a C model, when that product gets hit, your equipment or the people behind it is going to get hurt because it just doesn't withstand the impact from the moving fork trucks or other moving equipment in your operation. So this standard does a good job to educate the buyer as to, do I need a, B, or C quality product for this specific application? in this part of the building to solve my problem. Where before, everybody didn't know there was an A, B, and C, and they were buying inferior product. And the bad thing was they found out after an accident happened. So the goal of this standard is to help eliminate that, as well as, the goal of the rack safety panels standard of MH31.1.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's great that you guys are doing all those things. I think having the standard, as you mentioned, is such a key thing, especially when it comes to the potential of having weaker guarding, as you mentioned, in that case, and essentially proving that the guarding itself is ineffective if it's not up to the standard and the proper strength. If somebody can just go right through it with no real protection or stoppage there. So very interesting stuff from you, Ray, and we'll definitely put all this information on the newwarehouse.com as well, so people can easily get to the ProGMA site and find that protective guarding search tool and all the other information that you mentioned that is on there as well. So it's been very interesting to learn about this today on the show. So Ray, I want to thank you for coming on, and also if people want to find out more information about SpaceGuard products as well, how could they do that?
There's a couple different ways. You can go to www.spaceguardproducts.com, or you can give us a call at 812-523-3044. That'll take you directly to our factory there in Seymour, Indiana. Or if you have any specific questions you'd like to ask of me, you can go to Niemeyer at SpaceGuardProducts.com.
All right, great. And we'll put all that information at thenewwarehouse.com as well. So, Ray, thank you once again for being on the show today.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.